This has been a video. A lot of people have wanted me to watch this ever since it came out. Obviously, there's been a lot of election stuff, and the big question, why are men moving right? Now, in my opinion, I think the answer to this is fucking obvious.
Hello everyone, and happy 1-year anniversary to my male loneliness epidemic video. I'm happy to announce that since that video uploaded, the discourse has greatly improved. People all around the world are taking men's issues more seriously.
Well, that stopped after Kamala lost. Yeah, that's over. This was like a video from before the election. Yeah, that's done.
The gender war has finally come to an end. Just kidding, everything has gotten worse and nobody has learned anything. From the witches on The View cackling about how men are useless.
Do we need men?
This is the same woman, by the way, that was upset the other day that men didn't vote for Kamala Harris. It turns out, in fact, you did need men. Kind of interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Men are useless.
That's what you get.
To women online saying they'd rather be stranded in the
It's just politics. Like, they just freaking hostile to... Now, before they were hostile to black people. Now they are hostile to immigrants. Now they just evolved into freaking hating the other gender. Like, what the fuck are you doing over there? Jesus Christ. There are other issues. People are dying because of pain. How about you fix the homeless people that's suffering in your country? Jesus Christ. There are actual issues that need addressing, dude. That is stupid bullshit. You know? Goddamn.
There it is, man. Well, that's what you get.
Yep, absolutely.
woods with a bear than a man.
Would you rather be stuck in a forest with a man or a bear?
The bear. Bear.
It seems that things have gotten more toxic than ever, and the gender divide couldn't.
I feel like that's one of those questions. It's like
Yeah.
a retard
Yeah, that's a stupid.
indicator. Like, if you think that, I automatically think that you're stupid. Like, it's
Yeah. If you stay with a bear in a forest, you are dead almost instantly. Do you think bear is going to sit there and play poker with you? Stupid idiot.
not even that. Like, it makes me mad. I just like, oh, okay, so you're just, yeah, you don't think about things the right way.
Be
Yeah.
any wider,
Mhm.
especially
You'll get out of that job.
politically.
In
Absolutely.
2008, 58% of young people leaned Democratic. 2012, 53%. And in the last two major election years, that percentage held steady at 55%. But in 2023, that number dipped below 50% for the first time since 2005.
Yep.
And you'll notice right here, they've started to lean more Republican.
I
And
wonder
that's partly
why.
because of one specific group,
Because of guys.
young men.
That's right.
One specific group because of young men.
Because of guys.
Young men.
That's right. The man
Okay.
problem.
Okay, I know I said I was going to focus on the gender war and not talk about politics for a while. However, I found a loophole. Politics is talking about gender war. With this election
yeah.
being hailed by the media as the man versus woman election, according to any and all data coming out recently,
How stupid and disgusting that sounds. Man versus woman. Like, what? That's the biggest issue you have in your election?
men all around
Goddamn.
the world have shifted more right, and women have
Absolutely.
shifted more left. But women going more left
surprise.
was not the focus
Can
of...
somebody explain what the fuck is a left and right is? Because I thought left means left side and then right means left side. I don't know what that implies. Nobody knows, I think.
this month's outrage. The outrage, of course, was about men. That's right, we got our yearly, oh no, what is happening to men? Why are they moving to the right freak
Yep.
out. But unlike last year, this freak out isn't solely happening on the internet, no. It's also
Well, also another
Because men are fucking sick of this dumb shit.
big difference
Yeah.
about last year's freak out is that this year's freak out was codified by an election. That's the big difference, I would say. That's a real big fucking difference.
happening in Washington, D.C.
There are only 46 days until Election Day, and the Harris
Yeah.
Walz campaign is struggling to appeal to a group of voters that could determine the outcome of the election, and that is men.
The Harris campaign is making an aggressive last-minute effort to win over younger male voters.
Am I
bet.
really gonna make a video criticizing the Democrat Party days before the election? Of course I am! Now before you celebrate or grab your pitchforks, this is not a pro-Trump video. This is a
Okay, so it's a pro-Trump. See, the thing is that It's really funny how everybody who makes videos on the internet now has to preface this stuff, and you literally can't, again, you can't reason a person out of a position they didn't reason themselves into. The people that believe this shit, they believe it. They're not believing it based off of like, oh, I evaluated the facts and this is my conclusion. No, they believe this because they're mad. They're upset. That's the reason why.
Do better video. This is a
at all.
mommy's not mad, she's disappointed video. Actually, I lied. Mommy's pretty mad. In this video, I am going to be addressing the Democrats' so-called man problem, the recent discourse about men moving right, the last-minute pandering the Democratic Party is doing to get them back, what they could be doing instead.
You should stop addressing them separately. That's the first thing you have to do. Like, I think it's one of the greatest leaders, the black leaders, said, if you want to remove racism, just don't talk about it. Who's that guy? Let me know in the comments. Just don't talk about it. Just don't talk about it. That's
And of
simple
course,
as that.
going over some terrible opinions. Not my opinions. I have never had a bad opinion in my life.
Yes,
Except that one opinion.
I think it's Samuel.
We don't talk about that
I
one.
don't know
got
who
banned
said
for it.
that.
In a world where it seems like everything men do and like is toxic, from eating meat to working out to
How
even...
gym bro culture is harming young men. The pressure to get jacked is sparking a male mental health crisis and driving men into the arms of the far right.
What the fuck is a far right? I'm gonna Google it. I want to Google it because I have no fucking clue what this means. Because this kind of concept doesn't even exist in my country. So I had to Google it to figure that out. Left right is politically irrespective. Left right is a classification of political positions, ideologies, parties. Uh, very liberal or conservative. What are they even talking about? Like, what does this mean? Liberal approach. What does liberal mean? Hierarchy, class division, left wing, right wing. Man, they somehow figured a stupid way to divide the most modern people in this world, dude. God damn. Hey, they got it, boys. They figured out a way to freaking divide the smartest people in the world, dude. Let's go. Ideology is political liberal. What is liberal? I haven't heard that word either. Liberal. Let me Google that. Accepting different opinions. I see. Oh, liberal in this approach. Left wing politics is more liberal. So right wing is just to one extreme. Okay. I see more. That's actually more understandable. To be honest. Left wing politics is more liberal and approach. Right wing politics is more conservative. Okay, conservative. Left wing politics is. Oh! I see. So men are going into the right? Yeah. I see. Because the left wing is mostly about a woman and they have to be we don't need men, you know? That's how the left wing is going. So that's why they just left.
It's just like this kind of thinking is just, it's so stupid.
And having a beard.
Why men's with beards are sexist. And you don't want to know what's really funny about this?
Are you stupid?
Is
That's
I
how
bet
men
the reason
are.
why this got written is just because of J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance has a beard, so beards are sexist. It's just so, like, it's so fucking stupid. I can't even believe it. True, yeah.
Oh, wait,
It's
that
like-
reminds me.
It's like calling a woman a feminist because they have boobs. Like, what?
Before we get into this video, let's quickly give
Yeah.
a shout out to today's video sponsor, Henson Shaving.
Ooh,
If you've used
there
a
you go.
multi-blade razor, you're probably familiar with this story. Irritation, razor burns, and maybe even ingrown hair. Studies show 2/3 of men
I used to try to shave within 1 minute. I would like speed run it, and I would take photos. Like if you search asmongold shave, I would take photos to see how much that I would bleed.
experience some form of irritation after shaving. It's something they just expect at this point. They deal with overpriced blades, irritated...
I was actually going to show like how I shave and get ready, but then I did it, and then I realized if I uploaded it, I would get banned on YouTube because of gore.
And think that's just the way it has to be. Until now. Henson Shaving is on a mission to improve shaving with real innovation and a focus on your skin's health.
Speedrun shaving,
Their razors are made with solid aluminum, making them not only durable, but
This does look like if Trump made razors, I think that they would look like that.
environmentally friendly too. There's
Solid
no plastic
gold,
involved at
bigger
all,
than it
even
has
in the
to be.
packaging.
Yeah.
And the blades are fully recyclable. What really sets Henson apart is their engineering, with their Henson AL-13 safety razor being manufactured in an aerospace machine shop that built parts for the International Space Station. This precision allows the blade to extend just 1/1000th of an inch beyond the shave plane, less than the thickness of a human hair. The razor prevents any bouncing or skipping, resulting in an irritation-free shave every time. Henson even partnered with a medical imaging startup, and results indicated that the Henson AL-13 razor significantly reduces razor burn in comparison to conventional multi-blade razors.
See, I always thought that, like, if I shaved long enough, the razor burn and the bleeding would stop. I invented this myself. And do you want to know what's really funny? It worked. I never bleed now. See? Completely fine.
Switched to using Henson as my go-to razor brand, my shaves have been more silky and smoother than ever. No more burns or cuts, just a close shave that feels amazing. In other words, no more leg beard. The best part is, once you invest in a Henson razor, it's a lifetime purchase. The only thing you need to repurchase are the blades, which only cost 10 cents each. 10 cents. So once you own a Henson razor, you'll only be spending $3 to $5 a year on blades, compared to the ongoing cost of buying those expensive plastic cartridges.
Damn.
Henson's store offers a variety of colors, so you can pick the razor that best fits your style. So head over to hensonshaving.com/shoe and use my special discount SHOE at checkout to get 100 blades for free with your purchase of a Henson razor. Your skin and your environment will thank you. Big thank you to Henson.
What?
No, I'm not going to make the joke. Let me just move on.
For sponsoring this video, and thank you for not skipping the ad. You didn't skip the ad, right?
No, we're not.
And now, let's get back to the video.
We don't need to do that.
If you are a regular viewer to the Shoe on Head channel, first of all, I'm sorry. But also, you know by now, I have been documenting the internet and society in general's growing and widely accepted hatred of men. This has been happening for a very long time. And if you dare spoke up about it, you were called an incel or a pick-me, depending on your gender. But seemingly, almost out of nowhere, there has been a change of heart.
Well, the reason why there's been a change of heart is because there's enough of them now. It's not like people became more understanding. It's just that people realized that they couldn't just hand wave it away. A very important component.
So, I think men are in crisis, actually, in this country. I think that plays out different ways, but I think we need to have a real conversation about that.
Wow, that's interesting. Mainstream media talking about this? I wonder why they care so much
They're
now.
just tired of it.
Democrats fear
It's just
Harris losing
tiring.
too many male voters to Trump.
Well, how about that?
Oh. Signs have been mounting that, for the first time in recent decades, Democrats may lose majority support from young men in 2024. The risk to Democrats is that this is not just a one-time fluke, but an indication of growing trouble with men in coming elections. Democrats can celebrate the support they are getting from young women, but they also need to take
It's actually crazy if you can't see why Democrats don't get support from young guys, just hang it up, get another job. Get another one.
disaffection of young men seriously,
it's so
engage
obvious.
them directly, and respond to the visions of manhood and masculinity that Donald Trump and J.D. Vance are offering.
Yep.
All right, Kamala, you got 2 weeks to reverse anti-male propaganda and resentment fueled by our government, media, and institutions. How you gonna do it? Harris campaign creating space for white dudes. Oh.
I just like... It's just so... It's like even whenever this is like their version of like reverse racism, where they're like, we actually want to bring in white guys, and it's like it just, it's like, is this what it feels like to be patronized for being a minority? Like, guys, is this what it's like? Like, because I read that title and I'm like, well, you fucking loser. Like, what do you mean?
That's a great idea. I mean, a little too late, but I'm glad you're finally doing to be honest about role in history. Oh. It's always a space doing to be honest
about role in history. Oh, okay. So, yeah, space for them to take accountability for things that they didn't do. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Fuck
True.
that.
About role in history. Oh. It's always a space for white men to talk about how much they suck.
And so the idea that you're going to tell a 21-year-old guy that he isn't going to have opportunities and advantages and privileges because of something his grandfather did, this really isn't a very good sell.
Yeah, it's not gonna work.
Putting any sort of original sin on people are going to lose their minds on this. They're going to hate it. Yeah, their great-grandfather. Yeah, exactly. Well, men used to have this advantage. Yeah, but I don't have it, so why am I getting punished? Okay, well, that's just the way it is. It's systematic. Well, where's the system? The only system I see is privileges and scholarships for women. Like, any young guy, like, college and getting a job, and especially an entry-level job, are the two main experiences that every young man under 30 has probably gone through, one or the other, if not both. And in both of those circumstances, there are privileges and opportunities that are created for women that are not available for men. You can't tell somebody that they can't see what's directly in front of them. When you see these opportunities put out for getting women into STEM, and there's women that are getting invited in over somebody else who's a guy, or getting an extra privilege, or getting an internship at a company. Internships absolutely are meaningful. That's why people have them. Any guy that sees that is going to think that they're being discriminated against. And do you want to know why? It's because they are. When you categorize people by a group and you provide privileges to a certain part of that group and not the other part, you've just done a discrimination.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Did you start this group, White Dudes for Harris? And I suspect some of it has to do with the polling.
Yeah, for far too long, the left has essentially ceded white men to the MAGA right. There's large parts of the left who have gone out of their way to alienate white men over the last couple of years.
He's right.
And that's understandable in many ways. We decided that we wanted to create space for white men to be a part of electing Vice President Harris.
At the top of
the problem is that space is that the space is patronizing, and it feels like it's like tokenization. I wouldn't say it's like a minstrel or something like that, because I feel like that's so, like, it's so charged as a term, but it's almost like bringing out white people as,
It's simple as that. It looks like they have to do it instead of they want to do
as like,
it.
see,
That's
look,
different.
they support us too. It's weird. Yeah, I think it's just like, it's unironically just weird.
Yeah.
Everything about it is weird.
White Dudes for Harris organizer Ross Morales Roquito said he wanted to address what he called the elephant in the room.
To be their little whipping boy? Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, and big surprise, men don't want to be talked down to.
Ross Morales Roquito said he wanted to address what he called the elephant in the room, criticism surrounding an event organized for white men given the country's history of racism.
Nobody cares about the history of racism. If you talk to any young guy, any young white guy, they don't give a fuck about slavery. They don't care about any of this stuff. They weren't alive then. They don't know anybody who was alive then. It's completely irrelevant to their lived experience. So if you're going to tell somebody, yes, we're going to categorically discriminate against you and oppress you based off of something that you weren't a part of and nobody who is even alive was a part of, and probably you don't even know anyone who knew anyone that was a part of, guess what? You're going to get resentment. It's so fucking obvious. Why would somebody care about something that happened 150 years ago when it's not happening now and it's affecting them in a negative way? it's not even close. Like,
Other
I don't even
people
know
are
what to say.
uncomfortable with the car, he said.
How can you
Throughout
possibly think
American,
this is an effective
American
strategy?
history, when white men organized with their pointy hats on. I think they discovered, why the fuck you were talking about history? Who cares? Talk about the current problems. This is the problem. Like, fuck history. Who cares? Nobody in the history is pretty much
That's
alive right
in
this,
school over and over. Yeah, so was you typing that. You're banned. Stop it. Stop spamming. You typed it 5 times.
A lot of people felt uncomfortable about the call, he said.
Quit it.
Throughout American history, when white men organized, it was often with pointy hats on. They can't even have their gay
Wait,
little...
what? A lot of times, a lot of people felt uncomfortable about the call, he said. Throughout American history, when white men organized, it was often with pointy hats on. Did you know that when white men organized, it was also to get rid of slavery and to stop the Nazis in World War II? Like, this is just like, it's so...
Stupid.
It's such a disgusting, ridiculous thing to say. And any, like, as a white guy, I find this to be incredibly offensive. I do. I would never vote for a person that would talk about me like this. Absolutely. Why would I support somebody who demonizes me and talks down to me? I would never do this. Not in a million years.
Pointy hats on. They can't even have their gay little Zoom call where they circle jerk about hating themselves without their own movement going, yikes! A bunch of white males in one space? Seems kind of like the...
I've seen this. Seems like the KKK. Have you guys seen, like, I remember there was a recent article that was written, or like a statement made by like some games journalist. I think it was Jason Schreier, who he saw like a photo of a game studio and it was a bunch of white guys and he was complaining about it. I'm sorry, but like, if you do that, you're just you're making everything worse.
KKK. Black people can have their little groups and that's fine, but if a bunch of white people get together, well, that's just called breadtube. Never mind. White dudes for Harris. I mean, she's doing pretty bad with Latinos too. What's next? Hombres con Harris? So basically men are leaving the Democratic Party in droves and it's...
Wait, what's going on?
The Democratic campaign initiatives to mobilize the Hispanic male vote.
Oh, what are you doing? You are doing it so wrong. Do not separate them. That's your biggest mistake. People fight for inclusivity and then people fight for them to accept it as the equal. Like, you cannot separate them and then I have to separate them and then I have to focus them. Like, what are you doing? That's the opposite thing you're supposed to do. Yeah. Oh
my god. I don't know what to say about this kind of stuff. Like, this is
I'm kind of waiting for some Tamil people
so
so I can talk about the Gangua movie.
patronizing and insulting. It's unbelievable.
Absolutely.
Oh my god.
Stupid as hell.
That's so racist. Yes, it's actually just racist. Like, hombres? They're not hombres. They're Americans.
Yeah, there we go.
Like, it... It's unreal. I don't know what to say.
So basically, men are leaving the Democratic Party in droves, and it's not looking too good for the Democrats. So it wasn't long until everyone's favorite discourse hit Twitter again. If Kamala loses, which is very possible, there needs to be a real discussion about how Democrats speak to and reach young men. If Kamala loses. If she wins, there doesn't have to be discussion.
That's right.
We shouldn't change anything. Clearly, we're doing everything right.
Yes.
To be clear, I'm not saying we need to worry about women less or change any positions. I'm saying the polling around young men is concerning, and if it turns out to be true, we need to have a discussion about how condescending we are coming off to a huge part of the electorate.
He actually woke up.
No, what's really funny is I bet this guy probably got a huge amount of hate for that comment, because he's completely right.
Yeah,
if you condescend to people and you talk down to them and you just act like they're bad, they're gonna act like they don't like you. It's a big surprise, right? I mean, what are we even talking about? Obviously, that's what happened.
Oh, sure.
To be clear, I'm not saying we have to change anything. I'm just wondering why men aren't voting for us. What? I am gonna regret posting this so hard. And oh boy, did he! The replies were insane, to say.
What a surprise.
Yep.
What a surprise. Wow. Ooh. Who could have guessed?
The least. I must admit,
So
I
that is
cringed reading most of
open-minded
this. I
guys.
feel that one thing you didn't address is the systemic entitlement bestowed upon white men in the US. That sense of entitlement, that privilege they felt for eternity, is eroding.
What privilege is that? Like, if you go and you talk to a 21-year-old white guy now, what privilege are they actively enjoying?
Can't even talk to a girl. You will instantly be in jail.
Where is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Where is it? Yeah, I'm not sure.
Systemic entitlement they have felt for eternity. They're like 22 years old. The f do you mean eternity? Who is this like?
Yeah, exactly. And again, if you look at
Yeah, they basically came in 2000, dude. If they are 23 years old, they are born in 2002. What are you
comment
doing?
here, this is an older woman. Yeah. I'm sure that when you were growing up, things were worse. And that's bad. But if you take that and you fucking displace that trauma onto some new person, you can guarantee that they're going to be bad again.
Like 200-year-old man. So young men are snowflakes with hurt fifis because they're not the center of attention anymore. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Yes. Because they are literally are the freaking future of the freaking your whole economy and society, dude. Young men and young women, you cannot poison them with this bullshit. It's just for self-benefit. They are just poisoning the new generation for their own benefit. This is happening in everywhere. This is happening in my country as well. It's not a big, what do you call it? It's not anything new. They just, it's literally for a divide and conquer mechanic with just a different code of paint to it. For here, it's just about language, and then it's about caste, and it's about the way you were born, something like that here. But there, it's about gender. Like, it's unbelievable. It's the baseline is just the same, divide and conquer, pretty much.
Exactly.
If you don't have any enemies to fight for, you just make one. You know, people love to fight an enemy. You know, so in politics, they just made freaking men the enemies at this point. Literally, like that's just dumb shit. That's why men are not supporting you, because you just basically what do you call it? You will fight them. You will fight them. What's that word? I can't.
Yep.
I don't
And
know.
Trump and Vance and Joe Rogan make them the center of attention, and then they win the elections.
Yep, pretty much.
What a fucking surprise. Wow. Who could have guessed? It's a shock.
So are they poor little snowflakes, boo-hoo, or are they scary fascists that are going to turn America into the Handmaid's Tale? Because they can't be both. You either care about the future, or you don't. You cannot simultaneously hand-wave away men moving to fascism, but also fearmonger about it. Hi, man here. Maybe men just need to stop being absolute pieces of dog shit. It seems like the easiest thing to do.
This is just, man.
That's a troll.
Do you know what's the most sad about this? It's like these self-hating men that do this, and I personally think that the only reason guys make posts like this is to virtue signal to have girls think that they're good people.
Yeah.
Like, they're basically trying to sell themselves out in order to, like,
That's a
have
nice
girls
guy.
like them.
Yep,
Beta
pretty much.
cucks? Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, sure. They do it to attract lib girls. Yeah, exactly.
Do, right? I don't feel alienated or uncomfortable with democratic messaging because I'm not a complete wannabe fascist cheese dick incel loser who thinks he's the good guy.
To be fair, okay, just, oh shit, my
Exactly
dad's
what
calling.
you-
Hello? Hey, what's up? Well, all right, I'm gonna put you on speaker. Go ahead.
Okay, I said before, what the issue is. I repeat. What I said before was what this whole shit, all this shit about men, basically talking shit about guys who are more masculine,
Yeah.
to use kind of in quotes there. Guys who go to the gym, guys who go fishing, hunting, do things that guys do rather than playing pickleball or something. Where all that started was the girly men. Like I say, the femboys of their time back in the 60s. They couldn't get laid, and they see all their competition gets or a bunch of it gets drafted off or joins the army or whatever, Marines or whatever, and there they are. All they gotta do is look like girls. They grow their hair long, and they suck up to the girls, and guess who gets laid? There's still, you go by any biker bar, you go anywhere, you're going to see a bunch of chicks there, and they're out of them. There's going to be the porkers, and there's going to be regular ones and average ones, and there's going to be a bunch of damn good-looking ones there, too, just as many as are up at the Galleria Mall.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right.
Stepford-wise.
Yeah, sure.
All dates back. I hate to admit it, my fucking boomer generation of girly men. And had never had any respect for those fuckers. And, when I took any shit from them, they found out how much.
All right.
I think his dad is a water veteran, I think. Yeah, he was in the army.
Okay, I'll give you a call later.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'll talk to you later. All right, bye.
Yeah, he don't want to get back.
Okay.
Yep,
there it is. There it fucking is. I totally agree, by the way. And guys now are doing the exact same thing. The way that they make women happy is by being subservient. They can't meet women's needs in other ways, so the only way they can is by being obedient and subservient.
Reddit and its consequences have been a disaster for the male race. They just need to get off their asses, stop playing video games, and get real jobs. First,
to be fair, probably true in a lot of cases.
First of all, what real jobs?
Yeah.
These guys are coming out of college with useless diplomas, and there are no jobs. Also, what
the real jobs that are out there have initiatives to have women get hired over them. So it's like, yeah, go get a real job, and then, by the way, it's rigged against you. Yeah, there's some, like, DEI initiative that puts you at the back of the line.
Touch boomer ass take. Get off your ass and stop playing those video games from the generation who watches TV 24/7. I don't want to hear it. Tell them to get therapy. Tell them whatever you told or gave to women in the 1950s. They made this.
Yeah, and there it is. Why the fuck would a guy that's born in the year 2001 give a fuck what happened in 1950?
Yeah. True.
Why would he ever do, like, it's just, they're looking for revenge, not equality. They are.
Yeah, they don't have.
That's exactly right. Why would anybody give a fuck?
Yeah.
Bed, let them sleep alone in it, or be f***ing better men. Any other group of people, and it's, oh, boo-hoo, poor baby.
Well, this is the problem, is that, like, any time that there's a male issue, it's about how males should fix the issue. Every time that there's any issue about any other group, it's about how, well, it's also about how males should fix the issue, too. That's what happens. I see it all the time.
Yeah, it's not your fault.
You rewire all of society so your feelings aren't hurt. And then with men, it's get therapy. Be f***ing better. While there is truth in messaging needs to be better from
it's like, and this is also coming from the women that are, like, turning on their cell phone and recording a video for TikTok while they're screaming because Kamala Harris lost. And this is, like, after they've pulled their hair out and they've been bed rotting for 4 hours. It's like, this is the person that's telling you be better. some like psycho with 3 different colors of blue in their hair with a septum ring that lives at her mom's house at, you know, I was going to say level 34, age 34. Like, what are we talking about? That's on like 3 different antidepressants, you know, screaming at you for you to be better.
Democrats as a whole, I reject that telling young men they need to be better is the problem. They are trash in their nature, and if they can't do the work to not be toxic waste of seed, that's on them.
Well, you can keep telling people that, but it doesn't make them want to vote. Yeah, big surprise. Telling people that they're trash in their nature is a very bad thing to get them to agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really just doesn't work. Yeah. And it's really funny for me to see this because it seems like they still haven't learned. Isn't it basically misogynistic, but against men? It's misandrous, that's the term. And it is. It literally is. It's actually just that simple.
Vote for my team, by the way. We may not want to hear it, but this is what the data reflects. There is a massive loneliness epidemic in this country, which is disproportionately affecting men. Instead of calling them incels or mocking them, we should be willing to hear out their concerns.
Wow.
True. Very true. And by the way, if you don't hear out their concerns, that's totally fine. They'll find somebody else that does. And then once there's enough of them, they control all the branches of government, and then they take away abortion. Surprise! Haha! Gotcha, bitch!
Oh, a surprisingly good
That's
tweet
what
in a
happens.
sea of bullshit.
What do you expect?
That's nice to see. I could be wrong, but I'm assuming you're a straight white man, so yeah, go do something about it. Why are you guys bothering the rest of us with this? I can't figure it out.
The rest of us, isn't it a white guy? I mean, I feel like that's a white guy.
I would like for Democrats to win the election. Why do you care about men suffering? Because I want
Yeah, you want to win, obviously.
to win the election. Amazing. This is the issue right here. Start seeing men as people and not numbers in polls. That is step 1. You can't even do step 1. Anyway, there were thousands of these kind of tweets in response to this guy.
Oh, now after the election has been over, every single time that I look at Twitter, it's like some person who's mad about the election talking about how they're going to do something bad to a person who has a different political opinion than them. And I want to say, like, if you want to do that, go ahead and do it. But don't be surprised when it happens back to you. And it will.
Get it? We've seen it all before. If I went through all of them, this video would be 3 hours long. White dudes for Harris wasn't the only strange attempt the Democrats threw out at the last second to get the male vote.
Hey, white dudes. So, I think we're all pretty sick of hearing how much we suck. Every time you go online, it's the same story. We're the problem. And yeah, some white dudes are. Trump and all his MAGA buddies are out there making it worse.
They thought this was going to work. Be one of the good ones. Man, I remember when Republicans tried to do that for black people for a long time. That worked really well, didn't it? Didn't that work really well? Oh, yeah.
Are you f***ing kidding me? Years of these people saying men suck and are the problem, and now they're like, hey, fellow men, are you sick of being told you suck and are the problem? The audacity. Apparently, Kamala Harris has a secret weapon to win over male voters.
Kamala Harris is turning to her running mate, Tim Walz, hoping he is the secret weapon who can chip away at Donald Trump's support from men.
Much like how Trump chose Pence to win over the more establishment Republican voters, Kamala seems to have chosen Tim Walz to try and win over the white male vote. And boy, are they trying. Now, I don't hate Tim.
I think Tim Walz is definitely more likable than Kamala Harris, but that bar is on the floor and you need the shovel to go under it. I think that he's definitely more likable for sure, but it's just, yeah, he's their token white guy. Yeah, exactly.
Walz. In fact, I was pleasantly surprised when they chose him over Josh Shapiro. I like a lot of his policies, like his universal school lunch policy. That's an amazing policy. You'd have to be an insane freak to disagree with that.
It was very well received.
Or a libertarian. But I repeat myself. And there were a few times where he was speaking where I completely forgot he was running to be Kamala's VP and not president himself. And he actually brought a lot of energy to the Democratic stage for once.
He did.
So what the f was this? Putting out a bunch of ads of Tim Walz changing the air filter in a car, clumsily shooting a gun, and drawing a political football play-by-play. Trotting out Walz like some kind of minstrel show of a white man.
I didn't say it, she said it. Okay? Yep, I did. Hey. Yep. But everybody was thinking that.
Like a man dressing up like a man for Halloween. You don't gotta do all this, bro, I promise you. And they don't shy away about how that's exactly what they are trying to do. Tim Walz is clearly a Midwest man's man, but he's the antidote to toxic MAGA masculinity.
Oh, God.
Despite his typically masculine resume as a Midwestern football coach and veteran, Walz is utilizing those qualities to push forward a more progressive, compassion-based form of masculinity.
I feel like in a lot of cases, like this is like kind of true, but it just comes off as so performative and fake that I don't think that people buy into it. Like, for example, I think if Tim Walz was running by himself, like there's a reason, like he's the governor, right? Like, so he's won an election before. So it's not like this guy isn't popular, but if you contextualize it around the, you know, like National Democratic Party, then you have a totally different situation.
I mean, I usually pause when
Being
I
a vice
speak.
president is understanding that you are just that. Someone who is there to aid and support the president. Walz simply being there on the ticket with a woman and taking a back seat to his running mate, Vice President Kamala Harris, is him embracing his leadership role in a positive, masculine way. Football coach and
it's positively masculine whenever you take a back seat to a woman. Like, I don't really understand, like, how... Like, I mean, how do you expect to, like, tell that to somebody and then have them be like, yeah, this sounds great, you know, like, come sign me up? It's so condescending. It is. It's crazy.
cheerleader. How Tim Walz is defining masculinity. Amy Deal, a sexism researcher and author of the 2023 book Glass
It's
Walls,
called a bullshit
told
job.
USA Today that men like Walz who are intentional about rejecting traits and beliefs commonly dubbed as toxic masculinity are the tonic to harmful stigma associated with expectations of men and boys.
The thing is that a lot of this is actually true, which is kind of funny. Like, for example, like, what is my best example of masculinity? Well, it would be Aragorn in Lord of the Rings. Yeah, so it's like, it's definitely not Andrew Tate or one of these other, like, alpha males, right? Absolutely not. So, like, a lot of this is true. It just comes off as performative and fake.
Boys. He shows you can be masculine, but also not threatened by women as equals or women who are in positions of power. In fact, you can be cheerleaders for them. Notice the common theme here. Taking a back seat. Cheerleading. Like 5 different articles I read specifically use this word cheerleading. Even a few about
it's taking a back seat, doing what you're told. Give me a sec. Hello? Also my dad, guys. It's also my dad. I was talking about movies, but yeah, I'm also referring to my dad as well. Was that good? As a masculine model. Okay, good. I'll talk to you later. Okay, thanks. All right, bye. Okay. Oh boy. Right.
Kamala Harris's husband, Doug. God knows we need an antidote for all the lousy men in the news, and I think I found one. A lovable goofball who is happy to...
I just, like, can you think about how bad it would sound if, like, God knows we need an antidote for all the lousy women in the news or all the lousy black people in the news, and I think I found one? Like, or all the lousy Latinos in the news or Jews in the news.
Yeah, it's
like,
gonna be a disaster.
Can you think about how bad that would sound? People would be losing their fucking mind. And so, like, and this is the issue that these people have, is that what they should do is they need to, before they write an article like this, they need to replace men with women or another minority group and then think, would this sentence offend me? And if the answer is yes, then don't put men in there either. And the problem, again, is that these people think that they have a moral mandate that, like, well, I should because it's true. It's true. So that's the way I see the world. That's the way it is. So if I say, like, I have, but that's true. It's just, again, If you like losing elections, this is what you should do.
A lovable goofball who is happy to cheerlead for his wife, the Vice President of the U.S. Thank God for Doug Emhoff. Successful guys can support their wives and be respected. You don't have to be the quarterback to play the game at an elite level. Emhoff and his breed of dudes who are giving it their best shot
The dudes part is just
may
like,
never
oh
be as
God.
come hither to lost young men as the militant Andrew Tate models of manhood, but they are out there,
God
and
damn,
not
this
unlike
is
good
such a
husbands,
disaster.
will appear when they are needed. From the
Not unlike good I don't even understand what that means.
outside looking in,
What?
the right promises young men a return to the good times of the glorious past. You know, the one your grandfather had. The Coca-Cola ad rose-tinted version of the past. Back when you can afford a house and support a family on one income. While the left, which historically, in my opinion, had the policies to make that happen, are instead trying to sell men a vision of the future.
Yeah, sure.
And well, the future is female. A future where
Yeah, if you have all the shirts that say the future is female and having male representation or like, you know, you need female, it's just like, again, it's like the emperor's new clothes. Like everybody can see this. It's so fucking obvious to any young guy that this is happening. And they're just trying to pretend like it's not real. It's unbelievable. I don't even know what to say.
you're no longer playing the game, men. You're on the sidelines
Yeah.
being a cheerleader. Doesn't that just sound so exciting? Like, what the
You're
hell is
such a
going
good
on
boy.
inside these DNC consultant meetings? I really gotta know. Does anyone have any ideas on how to appeal to young men? And please, for the love of God, do not say we have to offer them anything or change in any way. I got it. What? Camo hats. We did that. Vasectomy bus. We did that. Have you perhaps tried nagging them? Yes, we've been doing that.
Yeah, that's why they're voting for Trump.
You know that whole male loneliness epidemic
Yeah.
thing? Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Oh, yeah.
A really nice place. Have you been here before?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite spots. I bring everybody here.
I said I go on a lot of dates, but
Wow. Wow, what a great advertisement. So what if you accidentally are dating a emotionally unstable crazy bitch? Don't you want to keep her around? No, not really.
Yep.
Hey men, if you don't vote for Kamala Harris, women won't fuck you. Brilliant.
Which is like also what's really funny about this is that there's a lot of women that voted for Trump too. It's like this whole thing where it's like, oh, women don't vote. It's not even true. It's just stupid.
Young men should know that if you vote for Trump, you're basically never going to get laid.
Okay, here's the problem. A lot of them already aren't getting laid. So you can't lose something you didn't have. Nothing changes.
I mean, is it incorrect?
Trump gives girls the ick. Vote Harris, get laid. I love how she blocks out the person who this is, but everybody knows who this is. Everybody knows it. I mean, is it incorrect? I didn't think so. Yeah.
Don't think so. Trump gives girls the ick. Vote Harris, get
I'm
laid.
gonna be honest. I think that if I was around a girl
What is
that
this
got
book,
like
dude?
what was called the ick, I would be considering myself lucky because I just avoided a ticking time bomb. It is a emotionally unstable, completely illogical thing that happens that shouldn't be taken seriously. This whole idea that like women are like these emotional babies that need to be like coddled and protected and you need to act in certain ways so they don't get upset or like get mad. Like you're basically treating them like children. And the fact is that like there are a lot of women that don't think like this. They don't act like this. You just talk to them like normal people, and everything is going to be fine. Who says that? All of these commercials are all saying this. It's just crazy.
Laid. They are not beating the pretending to be progressive to get laid allegations with this one. Literally just
And
endorse.
by the way, I do think guys do that. I absolutely think that guys do that. They'll mask their political beliefs in order to get girls that are like very politically motivated or like have strong beliefs to like hook up with them. Yeah, 100% they do. Absolutely.
Woke fishing when men pretend to be more progressive on dating apps to get laid. Do not do this, by the way. Be open and honest about your opinions, and no, you cannot fix them. Also, pretty weird and like low-key sexist to imply like women are some prize for voting the correct way. Hey, and if all else...
Yeah, that's all. It's always a good thing whenever women who are against objectification commodify their bodies as a reward for doing some sort of action, like it's a payment. But, you know, hey, well, totally normal.
Fails, go after the gooner vote.
Oh! Sorry, you can't do that.
What the hell, man? How'd you get in here?
I'm your Republican congressman. Now that we're in charge, we're banning porn nationwide.
It is really funny because of how stupid it is. It is. That's perfect.
I'm sorry. I love this ad. The one time they speak to men directly, and it's, hey men, the Republicans are gonna take away one of the only vices you use to numb the pain. So
That's
vote
right.
for us. Bleak. Just the absolute state of the world right now. Also, was that German? Believe it or not, this wasn't the worst of it.
I'm a man. I'm a man.
This was crazy. Like, it's actually insane how ideologically captured they
I
are
want
by
to see
identity
this.
politics.
Play it. What is
It's
this disaster?
unbelievable to me that they just keep. It's like the stop hitting yourself thing. You just can't stop talking about this, fixating on it, thinking about it. It's unbelievable. Like, I actually, as I said, I thought that the woke mind virus was like a stupid term. But after seeing how these people literally cannot think of anything other than demographics and identity, I'm starting to take it a lot more seriously. Because it literally feels like it's some sort of like a spell or something like that. Like some sort of like collective
Looks
delusion.
more like a curse. Somebody cursed them.
I'm a man, and I'm man enough.
I'm man enough to enjoy a barrel-proof bourbon.
Neat. Man enough to cook my steak rare. You think I'm afraid to rebuild
Why is eating your steak rare or being a man?
carburetor? I eat carburetors for breakfast. I'll tell you another thing
I could believe that.
I sure as shit am not afraid of. Women.
When I first saw this, I thought it was a parody created.
Yeah, it's just like I don't know what to say. Like,
it's just cringe.
Why rare? Yeah, why would a guy be afraid? It's just like, oh my god.
By Republicans to make fun of how hard the Democratic Party is trying to pander to men to get their vote. But alas.
I love women. I love women who support their families. Women who decide not to have families.
Women who take charge.
And I'm man enough to help them win.
Everything from them direct.
Oh my god. I can't even play out what an advertisement like this would be for minorities. Like, think about the parallels that you could do for a minority group. Oh my god.
God, that's gonna be awful.
Oh my fuck. That would be so fucking bad.
Towards men has to have like this tone of irony or self-deprecation. They can't even do it sincerely. But apparently white men aren't the only demographic Kamala is struggling with.
This is the Democratic margin among black men under the age of 45 in presidential elections. You go back to November of 2012, what do you see? You see Obama by 81. Clinton only won him by 63. Then we're all the way down to Biden last time around by 53. A tremendous drop already.
Has it ever occurred to you that maybe the reason why more people voted for Obama is because he was a better candidate?
Yeah.
Has it ever occurred that maybe the reason why there's a change in voting is actually because of the people that are running? Like, I don't know. I mean, no, that's not it. Right, okay. It's my identity.
And then you take a look at the average of the most recent polls, and Kamala Harris is up by only 41 points.
Democrats deployed their ultimate weapon, Barack Obama. At a campaign stump for Harris on Thursday in Pittsburgh, Obama said that despite Harris raising upward of $1 billion, we have yet to see the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running.
That's because you were a better candidate. Do you think Barack Obama would come up and say good morning 6 times in a row and how are we doing 4 times in a row? No. He didn't talk like a fucking idiot. It's so fucking obvious. How is anybody even thinking about this? Yeah, there's no twerking about it. Says, yeah, it's also people knew Kamala a lot less. Sure. This Obama called black men misogynists. I don't know about that. I didn't watch it. I'm just saying in general, right? Like whenever he was running for president, people liked him a lot because he represented a lot of the view. Like he was like against the war in Iraq and like he wanted to move the troops to come back. It didn't happen, but like that's what he ran on. And so of course people were supportive of that. Absolutely they were. That's why people are blaming the fact that Kamala is a woman. Well, I mean, even if you compare like her numbers to Hillary Clinton, who also was a woman, like it's just at a certain point, maybe instead of blaming, like it's like they're basically blaming every single thing that they can't control, except for the one thing that they can, which is their message. It can't be our message. There has to be some sort of like existential reason that we can't control that we can complain about, so we can displace accountability over to that.
It's basically that, but can't go extreme.
Energy, he added, appears, quote, to be more pronounced with the brothers. You're coming up with all kinds of reasons and excuses. I've got a problem with that, he said, because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to men directly, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman for president. And you're coming up with other alternatives and other reasons for that.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's probably the case. There's a lot of guys that don't want to vote for a woman for president because they're like, oh, what if she gets on her period and then she decides to nuclear bomb Canada? Absolutely.
What?
Like, I can fucking promise you that there are tons of guys out there that are like, you think I want to vote for a woman? My girlfriend is crazy. I've been married to a woman 15 years. Oh my God. Nope. That's crazy. No, but that's it. And like what they don't understand is that of course this is going to happen. Absolutely it's going to happen. It's the same as women that vote for her because she's a woman. Absolutely. Like I can guarantee you that there were probably millions of women who, if all other variables were the same and Kamala Harris wasn't a woman, they probably wouldn't have gone out to vote. Absolutely, women are going to exhibit, it's called own group bias. And as far as I know, my understanding is that women have a very high ratio of doing it, much higher than men. It's like a 5-to-1 ratio.
Once again, their only tactic seems to be getting in a man's face and going, tisk tisk bad boy. Like a dog that just peed on the carpet. It's not 2014 anymore, Barack. Nobody cares about sexism, motherfucker. We can't afford groceries. What's crazy is, as far as I know,
well, I think it's actually nobody cares about sexism and they are sexist and they're not sorry. Because I think that there absolutely are a lot of people that are genuinely sexist and you're just like, the shaming for having certain viewpoints has just been diminished and damaged because of so many times that people have cried wolf and there really wasn't a wolf. Like, for example, like Gamergate was about hating women. No, it wasn't. It was about game reviewers getting money and getting preferential treatment for giving reviews for games and like trying to turn it into, oh, it was about hating women. No, that had nothing to do with it. Like, they tried to turn it into that, but at the end of the day, it just becomes less effective every single time. Overused terms use all credibility. They have. Absolutely, they have.
Has never played the woman card. She has never played the sexism card. In fact, she actively pushes against it.
You've been reluctant to lean into, to talk about the historic nature of your candidacy on the campaign trail. Why is that?
Well, I'm clearly a woman. I don't need to point that out to
Yeah,
anyone.
I actually thought this was one of the respectable good things that Kamala Harris did, is that a lot of the messaging for her being like a woman or a minority was done by other people and not her herself. And I think this is a point that I think that, you know, compare F. Oh, no,
That's
a
actually
weird Twitch thing.
respectable.
I think it's very respectable that she did that.
That's why she came so close. Like, she barely lost to Trump, you know? I don't think it's like a massive drop or anything. It's like around 50, 47
the
or something
point
like that.
that most people really care about is, can you do the job? And do you have a plan to actually focus on them?
I was proud.
Yeah, she's completely right. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like they finally learned from Hillary Clinton's failure, but that didn't stop the media or Barack Obama from doing it for her. Thanks, Obama. For oldie Zoomers, thanks, Obama was a meme in like 2008.
It was a long time ago.
It was funny back then. That would have slapped. While I was writing this video, Kamala and Gretchen Whitmore were getting ready to film a video at a bar together when Kamala was apparently caught on hot mic saying this.
Yeah. Oh, we have microphones and listening to everything. I didn't realize that.
Okay. So, well,
You'll
now you
bleep
tell
my
us.
F words.
We just told all the family secrets. Shit.
We need to move ground with men, so what we're gonna do is pretend.
See, if she talked like that all the time, she probably would have had a much better chance of winning. You talk like a fake psychotic bitch. Nobody wants to vote for the Joker.
Drink beer at a bar. Men like beer, right? Just talk about policy. Just be yourself. Just listen to men and what they want. Kamala, all you gotta do is talk. Actually, no, now that I think about it, that might make it worse. Put Tim Walz out there, okay? Let Tim Walz do the talking. Don't dress him up as a man. You wanna know how to speak to men? Go to where they are. A good place to speak to young men is the Joe Rogan podcast.
God,
which Kamala...
It's so funny that it's being discussed as to whether or not Kamala Harris not going on the Joe Rogan podcast was damaging for her career. I think that's so fucking funny. Yep.
hinted at going on, but then that never happened, and instead
Joe Rogan flipped the election. The crazy thing is that, like, there were people that were, like, interviewing guys at the at these college campuses, and they were like, so why, who are you gonna vote for? Oh, I'm gonna go with, we're gonna go with Trump. Why? Well, I watched Joe Rogan, and he was on there, and, you know, I mean, it was pretty good. Why didn't Kamala go on there? I don't know. Probably because she lying about everything. Yeah, I mean, really, that actually was a factor. Must have been a good point. She could bullshit for 45 minutes, but 2 and 3 hour shows the real you. She only wanted to do 45 minutes. Elon Musk impacted it the most. Yeah, I think he probably did. That's probably true.
Trump went on, and that episode hit like 20 million views in a day. But, like, can you blame her? Joe Rogan
Actually, how many views did it get? Okay, it's all the way down here. 46 million views just on YouTube.
Ew, that's
Man.
extreme.
Plus 100 million on X? Yeah. Oh my God.
It's just one of the most popular podcasts in the world with a majority young male audience.
Which, by the way, I do want to say that a impression on X is worth less than a view on YouTube. This is like a social media thing where, like, a view is an active engagement, whereas an impression is is like just that you have seen it. So that's why I didn't want to compare those two numbers. YouTube even hit it from trending. Maybe, I don't know.
It's just one of the most popular podcasts in the world with a majority young male audience. I hate it here. Every time this topic comes up, so does the topic of like Andrew Tate, Jordan Peterson, internet algorithms, Gamergate, whatever.
Oh,
There is a massive amount of right-wing radicalization that has been occurring, especially in younger male spaces. Any hobbies whatsoever, whether it's playing video games, whether it's working
By
out.
the way, Hassan is right about all of this.
Whether it's, I don't know, listening to like a history podcast or whatever,
Yeah.
everything that they see is right-wing sentiment being expressed by individuals that they find charismatic.
But you can only blame internet.
So the reason why he's right might not be necessarily like what he's trying to say. I think that it's a chicken and the egg scenario where the content that's popular is right-wing because this right-wing content more accurately reflects the way that people see the world and the way that guys feel. So it's not that there's a bunch of right-wing content that's brainwashing people to be racist or to be Nazis. It's that there's a lot of guys that feel disenfranchised, and the content that's being deemed as right-wing is content that reflects what their viewpoints are. So it's like, and this is kind of the way that like content writer, right? No, that's really how it is. Joe Rogan isn't right-wing, it's the right one. Well, I think that it's definitely true that there are a lot of young guys that are extremely attracted by right-wing content. And I think Hassan is right by identifying that. It's very clearly a trend, and I think that the election proves that trend to be true. But why is that trend happening? I think the trend is not happening because content creators are right-wing. I think the trend is happening because people are right-wing and content creators are adapting to that, or content creators that have those same viewpoints are being elevated because those viewpoints are shared with a large audience.
That's true.
That's what's happening. Do you see kind of what I'm saying?
That's true.
The trend,
he's
men
actually
have always
right
been
in a
more
sense.
conservative than women. Yeah, but it's becoming more the case. Alex Jones accepted being press secretary. Let's finish this video first.
Algorithms for much for so long. This
Yeah.
automatic assumption that any dissent from liberal mainstream thought could only be caused by manipulation or brainwashing from podcasters is honestly
It's
that's
a
not cool.
vicious cycle. And I think that the cycle begins with people that are looking for content that respects them. And when you create content that respects a person and tells them that their opinions and their beliefs that they have are not racist, evil, or bad, they're going to be like, yeah, I agree with you. And there's a lot of guys that feel disenfranchised. And I think that really, like, a lot of these like right-wing places do a much better job at appealing to them. That's really the truth.
a cope, in my opinion, and just an easy excuse for failing to reach anyone beyond your own subreddit. As if this all wasn't the result of like a stagnant neoliberal corpo.
Well, I honestly think that the reason why there's a lot of right-wing podcasts and stuff is because there's a lot of guys that are looking for it. The popularity of the podcasts is precipitated by the fact that there's a lot of people that feel this way. It's not that the podcasts are making them feel this way. It's that the podcasts are elevated by a lot of people that already do feel this way.
Hell world that created a vacuum that was just waiting to be filled with any kind of populism. The crazy thing is the Democratic Party did have a candidate who successfully spoke to the demographic that they are currently trying so hard to reach.
Bernie?
His name was Bernie Sanders. And every time he did speak to that demographic or say he was
They were referred to as the Bernie Bros, and they were demonized. Yeah.
that the Democratic Party didn't do enough to speak to that demographic. He was called a sexist, a racist. He was backstabbed multiple times and cheated out of winning the Democratic primaries.
Twice.
His fans were called Bernie Bros and constantly berated as sexist.
Made me finally realize misogyny in America. I wonder what this girl is writing about today. Maybe nothing. She's in therapy now.
Misogynists. His campaign was too white and too male, and this apparently was a top priority to remedy in
Yeah, we've got to fix this. Well, here's the thing. They did. How about that? They
Okay, good.
fixed the glitch.
Future campaigns. We were told he was just like Trump
Problem
and,
solved.
quote, appealed to angry white men. Well, well, who's trying to appeal to angry white men now, bitch? It's almost like Bernie's hyper-focus on working-class issues.
See, this is kind of what I was saying before. I was talking about this with like video games and like woke video games about how it doesn't matter whether you think that your message in the game should be there or not. If you put a product out to market and people don't buy the product, then you go out of business. It doesn't matter whether you were right or wrong. You're out of business. You're done. Everybody's fired. The building's foreclosed. The studio gets sold. You're finished. It doesn't matter whether you're right or wrong. It matters whether what you're doing is working
hello.
or not
I'm
working.
kind of distracted. I'm looking at something
And
else.
these
How are you
people are
doing?
so
I'm doing good.
attached and like
Welcome,
so
welcome.
captured by their ideals
Okay,
and their
doing good.
morality that, by the way, is totally distorted.
I was looking at what
But
else I can watch and
even
talk about.
so,
You know?
they're so captured
You
by
told
it
me, right?
that they are completely
luck.
unable to see
Any gameplay
anything
today?
other than
Yes,
the
yes. I'm gonna play
entirely
Kingdom
very,
Come
very
Deliverance
narrow
after
lens
bit.
of the world
I'm
that
gonna
they
watch
see
some
everything
videos and
through.
then play some game. I gotta
Doesn't
finish
matter
it.
if you're
After that,
right or left. Yeah, sure.
yes, I'm gonna talk
Concording
about
is such a
that
good
game,
word.
the
Yeah,
movie
exactly.
after this video. Probably.
Appealing to people is what
Probably,
you're
I
supposed
watched
to do.
it.
Yeah.
Issues, bread and butter issues, and populism was naturally attractive to men. No football or beer
Good
required.
luck.
I miss him. And you know
Yeah,
what?
movie.
Maybe this shift with young men has less to do with who's holding the football and more of what happens when the DNC spends all their time and energy trashing the little bit of populism in their movement. And if you ask me, handing conservatives a monopoly on anti-establishment rhetoric on a silver
no, I'm
platter
just gonna
was
review, talk
probably
about
their
it.
first mistake.
Yeah, I don't
They
have
kind of
the
gave up
movie
on
yet.
that bread and butter New Deal.
Well, you can't really say that you're the establishment when every single person that has a mainstream media television show has the same viewpoints that you do. Like every late night talk show host is doing a monologue about how Kamala Harris should win the presidency. You can't talk about how you're not the mainstream when you have all of these A-list celebrities getting
Most of that
together
good
to
ideas
collectively
bad.
condemn people that vote
I mean,
for
it's not
Donald
as
Trump.
bad as Indian
Like,
too, but it's pretty bad.
it's
enough.
very obvious that this is the majority opinion of people that are part of the establishment. And just because there's a large contingency of people on the internet who don't represent that doesn't mean that the establishment isn't working tooth and nail to try to fight that from happening. Look at how much they tried to demonize and demonetize and kick Joe Rogan off of Spotify. Think about how much they're trying to stop free speech on Twitter or X. Think about how much before Elon Musk bought Twitter or X, how much they did stop free speech on there, how much they tried to control things with COVID, how much they tried to control things with election misinformation. It's just so obvious. And any normal person, and this is really what the problem is. Every reasonable, normal, average guy can see exactly what I'm talking about. So when you tell somebody that they can't see what's in plain sight directly in front of them, they're going to hate you for it. This is the reason why, like, theocracies usually fall with religion. It's because eventually people are tired of living a lie. They're tired of living their life according to a set of principles that they don't feel like represents them and that they have to actively forego their critical thought. It's literally yeah, it is. Well, yeah, yes and no, right? But yeah, it's basically gaslighting. Yeah, I would say so. Actually, no. Yeah, no, it is Orwell. No, you're right. I don't know about that. No. Remember how like the like terrorism is peacekeeping and stuff like that. Like all the different like phrases about how the main party like controlled all the vocabulary. I think that if you look at it through that, this is like with 1984. Yeah, I actually think that's a good example. Sure. The double
The
speak
only
moments?
hero I don't like actively is Sivagati.
Stuff
He's
for
lying.
identity politics, and if you deny this, you are
Not a
either
fan.
lying or
I think
crazy.
it's
The
the
physical
individual
manifestation of the
Yeah.
left has gone from the
The
vision
one
of
he
the
runs.
blue-collar
That was kinda
union
good.
worker to a nagging, scolding fat woman with blue hair, barging in
With a nose piercing.
into everyone's
Yeah.
spaces and culture.
Guy
Coming
Girl, the
into
story is
Warhammer
good.
and saying there's not enough women in it.
Guy Girl, the story is good, I guess.
Colonizing them.
I don't
Change
remember
this,
that.
change that. I
Yep.
don't like this, I don't like that. It's just incredible for me to witness years of anti-male rhetoric finally
Yeah.
come back to bite the left and Democrats in the ass.
And I think that also what's going to happen, like I remember I saw this tweet from old Nick Fuentes. He goes, "Your body, my choice, forever."
What the fuck?
And now, the thing is that now they won. And once somebody wins once, they're going to be like, well, wait a minute. Maybe we could do this and the other thing too. You know what? Where is this Project 2025 shit? Let me read this again. Because, like, yeah, now that you think, I mean, you know, like, let's actually think about this. He's not pro-Trump, Baldy. He's not pro-Trump, but as soon as Trump wins, he goes like, we did it. He spends all his time complaining about Trump, saying he's not going to vote for him. Finally, Trump wins, and he says, we did it. Uh-huh, for sure.
These chickens come home to roost has just been both incredibly depressing and deliciously vindicating to me in
Yeah.
a sick
Husk is happy.
way.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not sure if I should lend out a helping hand or Mufasa them off this fucking cliff. Some Democrats are nervous the party was
I
too
think
late
it's
to
just
realize
both
the
are
problem.
businessmen,
These
so
Democrats
they-
worry that the party has focused too much on courting women voters,
I don't know.
LGBTQ voters, and culturally progressive voters, alienating too many men in the process. There's a recognition that we're losing men.
Well,
and
here's the thing. It's that if you use drag queens to promote a political message, that political message is going to lose. Drag queens are not socially accepted by, like, average populations of people. Like, if you go to Walmart and you find 5 random Walmart citizens, Walmart Americans,
Both goes to business development.
they're
or
probably
something,
all
yeah.
going to have the same reaction to a drag queen.
I think we're friends
And I
as
think that we
well.
all know
I
what
don't
that
know.
reaction is.
Who knows what Trump is doing with the
things we're
Elon
doing
Musk?
around men haven't been
Walmartians,
working. I think
yeah.
a lot of it is a reaction to social progressivism done the wrong way,
Walmartians.
says David Hogg. Young men, he says, feel like progressives look down on them for
He's
saying the
right.
wrong thing, even when it's a mistake. That discomfort is enough to drive them away from the Democratic Party.
Yeah,
Even if
exactly. Why would somebody want to, like, it's very simple. It's like, when you're dealing with somebody who, have you guys ever been around somebody, like, this is especially true with, like, toxic girlfriends? Have you ever been around, like, a girlfriend that, like, if you say something the wrong way, it, like, immediately activates her hard mode, like, fucking, like, max difficulty, you know, attack phase? You guys ever had this happen, right? And it's like, do you
Oh,
understand, like,
God.
how, like, you know, you're, like, fucking, like, tiptoeing through pins and needles, like, trying to avoid
Look at that. Okay,
accidentally
see you in a bit.
triggering her or, like, getting her mad? That's exactly the reason why I think a lot of people push back against a lot of, like, quote, woke stuff. It's because they don't want to have to walk on eggshells around people all the time. They don't want to have to take their words and filter them through 5 or 10 different, oh my God, what if people think that I'm saying this about this racial group of people or about women?
Yeah.
It's basically, there's been a massive push, and this happens on social media all the time. There's been a massive push of taking what a person says and then extrapolating it to, like, its worst possible implication, and then treating that person as if the implication was their intent. It's not about trying to understand the other person's perspective. It's about using that other person as a stepping stool so you can stand on top of them and say, look at me, I'm more virtuous than they are. And so I think that's been a huge reason why a lot of people have pushed back against, like, you know, what you'd call like progressive, like woke, like activist stuff. It's because if somebody calls something else gay, because they used to call it that for like 30 years as like kids, especially in like the 2000s and the 90s, that doesn't mean that they hate gay people. It doesn't mean that they're like homophobic or anything. And like, yeah, maybe it's not like a great thing to say, but when you treat a person that says that as if they're actually a homophobe or a bad person, you know what it makes them? It makes them a homophobe or a bad person. And fundamentally, people just don't want to be told what to do. They don't want to be told what to think. They don't want to have to walk on eggshells around people that are, in a lot of cases, I think, mentally unstable. And they don't want to deal with it at all. And so it's an unfortunate colloquialism. Well, I mean, whatever you want to call it, right? Like whatever term that, like, there are a lot of terms like this. Like you could use, like, there's terms like, I didn't know tar baby was one that can be used as like as a derogatory term towards like black people. Like growing up, like this was like just a story. And like I used the term one time, people got really mad at me for it. And like, for me, like I'm involved with controversies like this all the time. So I don't really care a lot But like, I know that there are certain streamers that don't even want to have Starbucks on their screen because they're afraid that people
that's why I
might get
just
mad
blew
because
up when
Starbucks
that
is seen as
Tamil guy
being
just came
promoting
and then
and
said, "You have
favorable
to speak
towards
to me
Israel.
respectively," and then I just freaked out.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, it's so annoying.
And so people don't want to
Maybe
live
speak whatever I
with
want to.
like that level
Jesus
of
Christ.
like restrictive behavior. Is that based? Yeah, they are. And I think retarded is another one. Like people that use the word retarded don't want to be told not to use that word. And I think that if you want to take a step back, people don't want to be told what words they can and can't use, period. And you see this on Twitter.
That's also
as
true.
soon as Elon Musk took over, I bet the usage of the N-word went up by 1,000%. No, that's not true. Probably 10,000%. Yeah, because, or the F word. I see, oh my God, people are really trying to bring back the homophobic F word. They're trying to bring it back in a big way. I can't even read Twitter without seeing it all the time. And do you want to know why? It's because people don't want to be told what they can and can't say. They don't want to be given a list of words by some loser and be told, no, if you say this, we're going to try to systematically destroy your life. Because you know what happens? Whenever you tell that to enough people, they decide to systematically destroy your life instead. And that's exactly what happened with the election. That's exactly what happened.
Goddamn.
It's because if you
That's
try to
not true.
antagonize people and tell them what to do, eventually they'll turn around and they'll start telling you what to do.
Ooh.
Basin, I'll do it again.
That's a
Yeah,
good one.
and it's going to keep, this is what my opinion is. I think that we are going to move towards an overcorrection. And I think that conservative viewpoints and conservative, like, and I'm talking about like extreme conservative viewpoints, will continue to get more and more traction as an overcorrection because people are tired of like being told what to do or what to think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, pendulum swings back.
actually
Yeah,
cool.
and I think that
It is
people are
tired of it.
swinging
It's
back.
super annoying.
And
The
the thing is,
social
what's different about
policing
it
is
this time, I
annoying to
think,
deal with.
is that people know it. They know it, and they're
Yeah.
doing it because they're like, you made us live with our mind in a cage. Now it's time to put you in a cage. And by the way, Trump said on day one, a lot of people probably might be going in cages. The mass deportations. Done. That's it.
Goddamn.
And so I feel like and people like to, you know, like they like to fight against this and like to say like, oh, well, this is the wrong thing to do. Well, does it really matter who's right or wrong when you're the one that's in the cage? Not anymore. That's it.
They don't necessarily agree with Republicans. They would rather be around someone they don't agree with who doesn't judge them than somebody they do agree with who judges them constantly.
He's totally fucking right about this, by the way.
Yeah, that's a smart way to
100%
say
right
it.
about this.
Men aren't moving right because they are choosing fascism. They are moving right because the left made them the villains in their anime fan fiction. It's
Yeah.
not that they all
Exactly.
like Trump. It's that they all hate you, and no amount of camo
True.
hats is going to fix
Ooh,
that.
that's
But do not
good.
get it twisted. I do not in any way, shape, or form believe the GOP is going to help men. I don't think they're going to help anyone. Except maybe Israel. Do I think all of the left...
I agree with that too. Like,
Yeah, just for the one
you know, somebody says like, oh, well, you can't get abortions anymore. It's like, oh, fuck, well, now you have to pay child support. Like, that's the first thing I think about. Oh, fuck. What, do you got to get a coat hanger now? Jesus.
Just some hyper woke fat lady wagging her finger in men's faces like, no fun allowed. No, if I did, I wouldn't call myself left.
And this has happened a lot. Like, I've seen this happen constantly where it's like women that are, I don't even really know if it's women. I don't want to categorize this as all as women. But I think that it's like people that are like complaining. They're like, I'm really bothered by how much people are using the word retarded, or I'm really bothered by how much people think this joke is funny. Like, people shouldn't be joking about this. This isn't funny. You shouldn't be allowed to. Like,
who the hell are you
bitch,
to
shut
tell
the
them?
fuck up. Shut up. Don't tell me what to say. Just period.
Yeah.
Whatever you're gonna say, I don't care. It doesn't matter what it is, what your problem is, it doesn't matter.
I'm not a Democrat. I'm
Yeah,
a
shut up,
registered
retard.
independent.
Yeah.
But the Democratic Party is historically better on policy, and despite their messaging, even when it comes to helping men. Healthcare, higher wages, paid family leave, labor protection, Social Security, things Republicans have always fought against. And I think that's why this is extra frustrating to me. I don't say this with any love for the Republican Party. In fact, if anything, I say it with love for the Democratic Party. I fucking hate them, but deep down, I wish they could be better. I'm doing this for your own good.
Yep. This hurts me more than it hurts you.
Go sleep. I love you. Go sleep. I just hope that whether Kamala wins or loses, the party can take a step back and evaluate what they're doing wrong. Because
They're taking a step back to have a support group for each other and talk about how much they want to kill Donald Trump, how much they want to kill themselves, how much they want to kill their family members, and how much they want to kill their unborn babies.
I don't think the Democratic Party should be the party for the gays and women. I think the Democratic Party should be the party for everyone, including angry white men. So in your opinion, what could the Democratic Party do to win back young men? Can they do anything? Are they fucked? To me, it might take decades of work to fix the culture, the rot that...
I don't think that they can do it. I think that they're so captured by identity politics and like the logic and philosophy of like intersectionalism that they cannot undo this. Yeah, stop identity politics. Like I feel like basically the like Donald Trump brand of like Republican politics will exist for the next 20 years. Like after Trump like finishes his term, it's not like, oh, everything's going to go back to how it was with Mitt Romney. There's going to be like, I bet that there's probably going to be somebody who is even more like, they're probably going to say, you thought it was good now. You thought Project 2025 was bad. Wait for Project 2028. You know?
Infests the progressive
goddamn.
ideology. It is going to take a lot of
That's
work
what's
to
gonna
fix,
happen.
but I think it's worth it, not just for the Democratic Party's sake, but just for society's sake. If you like this video, please consider donating to my Patreon, link down below.
This
It
was
really
a
helps
really
the
good
channel
video.
out, and I appreciate it so much.
Yeah.
Also, thank you for 2 million subscribers. That's
That's a lot of
insane.
people.
And I will see you guys with a new
Let's
video
go.
soon. Bye!
Yep. Yeah, it's a really good
Great
video. Give
video.
it a like. This is so good. Like, I wish there were more people that talked about this kind of stuff because I feel like there's a lot of this stuff that needs to be talked
Yeah,
about.
this is
Such
so
a great
much
video. Yeah, this was
video.
so good.